This is going to be fun. I love talking about horrible video games. I haven't talked about one in a while, but this will be my first time covering a horrible video game company. And I was going to do like Activision and Blizzard as my first one, but they're a little too dark for my personal standards. So I'm going with the second worst, which is EA. Yes, Electronic Arts is, in my opinion, the second worst video game company of all time. They are that for a few reasons. Let's hop into why. So let's do a brief backstory to see where we started, and I'll promise it'll be short. All right, let's run through this. So there was a dude named Trip Hawkins. He worked for Apple for a couple years, then was offered some office space to start a fun little company, and he took it. It took him about 7 months to start. In about late 1982, the name was Amazing Software, but the employees didn't like the name that much, so they renamed it to the iconic Electronic Arts. Then, 9 years later, EA created the iconic EA Sports division of Electronic Arts, and they made Madden, FIFA, NASCAR, and the NHL all in the video games. Then, during the early to mid 2000s is where EA started going wild, with obviously EA Sports, but outside of that they had like the Sims games and Battlefield. But during this time is when we start to see cracks in the foundation of EA. The first thing they did that made people hate them was when they acquired development companies. And I'll get to why in a second, but there's a name that goes along with this that I think it's just a great reputation. And the nickname is the Evil Empire. It sounds like some fucking shit out of Star Wars. But what they do is they acquire small developers and pressure them into making games way faster than normal, to the point where the game's quality would suffer because of this. I mean, it just makes sense. After that, when the game's sales would suffer because, you know, they are fucking rushing them and the game's quality was worse than the rest before, EA would see the sales for that game not reflecting what they saw and go, oh, bad sales means bye-bye company, and then they would dissolve that fucking company. This shows that EA did not care about the developers as people at all, only as money printing machines, and when the money would falter or fail because of fucking pressure, they'd kill the company. They also didn't do this just to only one, they did it to a few companies. The biggest one they did this to was Pandemic Studios, and they made games like the original Star Wars Battlefront and both of the Destroy All Human games, which are just amazing, just so much fun games. They really did this from like 1992 to like 2008ish, and that's when they started saying like, yeah, we're sorry for this. And they said that they'd give the companies more autonomy, which, sure. The thing is, this happened decently recent though, with Visceral Games, which made the Dead Space series, which are just amazing games. And obviously the remake was very good as well, so I'll say give a little bit of props to EA for that. Another thing people have gotten mad about is EA has signed exclusive contracts with sports companies like the NFL, the NHL, and soccer, or sorry, for people outside of the United States, football. So what that means is no other game developers can use the top player's likeness or the team's logos at all. And then of course with these games, there's the microtransactions and just raising their prices on them, which feels kind of illegal to me, but I don't know. I'm not a lawyer. Don't quote me on that. I don't know. And then another big one is the treatment of the developers' employees. The big thing would be crunch time, which if you don't know what that is, it's the months or weeks leading up to the video game's release. And crunch time is working longer in this time to make sure the game is good and it gets out on time. The amount of hours they make you work is wild. I mean, it is literally fucking insane. We are talking like 100 hours a week. And if you want to know what you'd have to work to get 100 hours, that's 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. every day, 7 days a week. They get an occasional early day off, like a Saturday, like 6:30. But like, you literally have no time for anything. And the best thing on top of that is they would not pay you overtime pay, which, yeah, you're exempt from overtime pay when you're working these insane hours, which overtime pay is just so fucking nice. And to do that to these people it's just fucking cruel. These were years ago, and EA was given a lawsuit due to the unpaid overtime and the amount of wild fucking hours that they were forced to work, and they had to pay up $15.6 million to the video game artists. And then a second lawsuit was filed against EA by the programmers, and EA once again was forced to pay up, and this time it was $14.9 million. Apparently working conditions are better now, because I fucking could not imagine working 70 hours to 100 hours a week. It's just crazy. Also, something very funny that fits with EA that is just amazing is they won the Worst Consumerist Award in the United States in 2012, and get ready for this. That's not even the best part. The best part is they won it a second time the next year in 2013. I mean, it's just so fucking funny. Like, imagine getting shit on that hard that you win the award 2 years in a row. Like, I mean, I think that just, like, qualifies them as, like, at least the top 3 worst video game companies of all time, right? I thought it was just hilarious, and I 100% had to touch on it. Let's move on to video game quality, though. And so what I mean by that is, for some reason, EA is perfectly fine with releasing an unfinished game. Like, the games need months of patching and work to even make them playable after launch. Just delay the game. We don't want to buy a broken game. Take, for example, Battlefield 4, which at launch had a garbage netcode, horrible connection issues, and game-breaking bugs. Or let's talk about SimCity, where you had to connect online to even play the game, which is fine. But for the first week of the game's release, the servers were down, so if you spent $60 on the game to fucking play it, you just couldn't. And they were just like, boo, that sucks for you. Or let's talk about Anthem, which, I mean, Anthem is its own fucking thing. Was just a horrible release that they charged way too much money for. Or most recently, I have been seeing a lot of problems with Jedi Survivor. I mean, a lot. Like, fucking game-breaking bugs. I've seen fucking frame rates drop, like, extremely. And I'm playing on the PS5, so it could have used maybe like another month or two in the oven. Or if the game isn't broken, they do nothing to improve the games, like Madden or FIFA, or basically the esports games in general. They just update the team roster and add in a few HUD changes and improve the graphics in a little bit. And they're like, yeah, let's market this for another $60 or $70 game every year. Why not? People will pay it. So basically, the games are either extremely broken or unoriginal, and there are very few games that come on EA that are neither nowadays. But I'll name off some of them, and those are It Takes Two, and Jedi Fallen Order, and obviously Survivor. Speaking of the 2 Star Wars games, another reason I personally hate EA is that they hate single-player games. The CEO of EA, Andrew Wilson, said that people do not care about single games, which I'm not sure why he thought that with how well Jedi Fallen Order did and Jedi Survivor did. And the reason why EA hates single-player games is actually the biggest reason people hate them nowadays, which is they can't drain money from you as well as they can with microtransactions in single-player games as they can in multiplayer games. And yes, we are finally at microtransactions, the best and the most fun thing in multiplayer video games right now. It's just so great. You know we all love gambling on video game items. It's just so much fun. But I'll do a brief explanation for loot boxes for dummies. It'll be quick, I promise. It's a consumable item that randomly gives you another item like characters, skins, guns, etc. But normally you can get these items with in-game currency, which you can either get by playing the game, which will take a while to get, or buying them. You know, the quick and easy way. I told you it'd be quick, but normally loot boxes just give you skins or stuff to customize like your player icon or shit like that. You know, just cosmetic differences. And EA games though, no. They give you stuff to make you actually better, like giving you better guns or giving you better characters than the base characters in the game. So either you get really lucky or you are a pay to win, which, oh god, you know, everyone loves pay to wins. They're just so much fun to play with. It's just not fair and not fun. No one's going to want to spend tons of hours unlocking a character that someone else got for just buying it. Another thing this does is introduces young kids who enjoy playing like soccer or football or even Star Wars to start gambling. Like, that's not a great look to introduce these young impressionable fucking kids to, you know, gambling. These loot boxes plus the game's quality, I think, truly show what EA really cares about. And that's just the money. These games are unfinished, and then they're pushing a shit ton of microtransactions to get you to spend even more money than the $60 or $70 that they are already charging. EA only cares about the dollar signs and not about the people who are actually playing the games or making them. One game, though, that everyone hated the pay-to-win aspect on and pushed back on was Star Wars Battlefront 2. And even Disney told them to fuck off with the gambling and the pay-to-win loot boxes. So they actually did, and they honestly fixed Battlefront 2 up to be a pretty nice and good game now. So respect EA for that, or maybe not for canceling Battlefront 3. Fuck you guys for that. People hate EA for many reasons though, and I was just trying to cover a few of the biggest and the baddest here today. I definitely could have missed them though, so if I did, let me know down in the comments below, or if you have any other personal reasons why you hate EA, please let me know. I would love to know down in the comments below. Please let me know. Don't forget to leave a like on the video and then subscribe. Click the big red button and turn it gray. Because if you don't, I swear to God, I'll come to your house and I'll plant a bomb in your house. I'm just gonna blow up your house with you in it. So just press it. It'll be easier. I don't have to drive all the way out there. You don't have to die. I'm just saying it's easier for both of us. Cool. But I hope that you, yes, you right there, have a fan-fucking-tastic day. And of course, guys, like always, deuces.